blockchain represents a huge opportunity for the real estate industry, both in terms of some of the functionality that can be used during a transaction, as well as the potential for tokenizing real estate.
Hey folks, Flo here with Blockchain North. I'm here with Brad Mitchell, who is in real estate, and that piqued my curiosity. So why don't you introduce yourself and your organization in a minute?
So I am Brad Mitchell. I am the CEO of the Alberta Real Estate Association. We represent about 14,000 realtors all across the province of Alberta.
Okay, nice and short. So why are you here? I mean, real estate, I can think of a couple of things, but maybe you want to tell us yourself.
So blockchain represents a huge opportunity for the real estate industry, both in terms of some of the functionality that can be used during a transaction, as well as the potential for tokenizing real estate.
How early do you think we are in that sort of opportunity? I mean, I think the biggest thing that has maybe changed the tide in recent months, I believe, I think since the ETFs basically, is Larry Fink of BlackRock basically starting to talk about, real world asset tokenization.
Yeah, so I mean, we're in the very early stages, but it's important to recognize that this actually happens now. People just do it on paper. They split a real estate transaction, 15 or 20 people chip in, they build a trust, and then they buy a piece of property. And what's the only thing that's different is the mechanism that you would use. So, blockchain and things like Bitcoin can be utilized to make these transactions more efficient and faster.
Can we break that down? How does that work? For someone who doesn't even really understand crypto, like how does Bitcoin help real estate transactions?
So, particularly on the tokenization piece, where you can have multiple owners that are that own a single asset, right? Like that's really the advantage.
So liquidity.
So you could have theoretically you could have thousands of owners of a single piece of real estate.
Okay.
Right? Which
fractionalization and making it more liquid and tradable 24/7 globally.
Absolutely. Liquidity of capital, access to capital. You can think about it in terms of housing affordability, where you might own, let's say you own 30% of the house, but you have silent investors that own the other 70%, but you get to live there. And so functionally, there are a lot of theoretical applications to tokenizing real estate. So that's what we're interested in. Then secondly, when it comes to land titles and title transfer, it takes 4 to 5 days. Sometimes it takes weeks to transfer a title. You can think of a system that would be on blockchain where you pull the title and it gets verified all the way through the transaction, which you could theoretically do almost instantaneously, as fast as the people look at the title and verify the credentials. You could transfer a title in a day, and maybe you don't need lawyers. So there's some consumer savings there as well, where it's automatically verified by government from a government database, and you can't change the title on blockchain.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I'd love to ask you 10 other questions, but in the interest of keeping this a little bit short,
Sure.
As the Real Estate Association, what is your role then in this whole thing? I mean, why are you here basically? Is it just wanting to support, wanting to learn? Do you play a role of advocacy? I mean, I'm guessing it's maybe all of the above.
It is all of the above. Our responsibility is to ensure that our members have access to the best technology and the best tools. And we also advocate with government. Minister Nally is also the Minister for Real Estate. So there is lots of synergies here with this conference. And we always try and be on top of new and interesting technologies.
Do you feel like you're one of the only ones in Canada, or are you aware of other real estate associations that are also sort of sticking their nose in there?
I'm not aware of any other associations, but I know our members are using cryptocurrencies to finalize real estate transactions. I know it's part of the ecosystem of real estate, and so I know that it's happening. And so we like to be at the cutting edge of these things.
That is really, really cool. Maybe just a bit of future forward, vision, thinking here. What do you, how do you see this unfolding basically in the coming years?
Well, part of it depends on how fast government can move. There's lots of red tape, which the government is trying to remove, but these are new things and regulators are very slow to adopt new technologies. This government's very fast and they're actually very good. But we're still a few years away.
Yeah. And to be fair, it's maybe not the most important file on their desk, let's say. In
Yeah,
terms of
absolutely.
Dollar volumes, even if it's a disruptive like a revolution, but.
Yeah, real estate is the fourth largest industry in Alberta, but the resale of real estate isn't what generates GDP. It's building a new house, and that takes people and land and time and money. So we deal with the end of the transaction where the house is being resold or the piece of property is being resold, but there's some really exciting possibilities.
Awesome. Great way to end this interview on possibilities. Thank you very much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
your time.